Good morning, comrades. You are listening to WHIVLP New Orleans 102.3. This is your weekly Good Morning Comrade. Jeff here on the show with a very special guest coming to us live from the great state of Michigan, where I guess something happened last week. I don't know. She'll tell us about it. But right here on the line, we have Palki. Palki, how you doing
Hi.
today?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing all right. Not bad for a morning, Not too
Yeah.
bad. It's been a thrilling week. I was actually in Lansing when what you're talking about happened.
Yeah.
I was there for work and it was just like how do I see this from close up? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Were there anything going on Tuesday
No,
morning?
not
No.
I ended up actually Good Morning Comrade is actually a part of this space, which is like an online community of like leftists that do like broadcast like basically a bunch of people that have like smaller shows on like social or like YouTube or whatever. Shout out to Christina and shout out to Forrest from Movie Night Extravaganza. They joined me and several other comrades in doing live coverage of the returns, which was fun on
Oh,
Tuesday night. Yeah, and we did a little bit of we had a little fun doing that.
yeah.
How about yourself? So I guess we could just like let's just rewind and please just introduce yourself to the audience so they know who you're listening to.
Yeah. So I'm Palki. I'm from Michigan, born and raised, and I just recently got into local politics. I've obviously been following um, national politics on a national level. I've always kind of been semi-aware of what's going on, but really just late last year and early this year, I started to get more in the know about Michigan politics and what's going on around me. Not even
Hmm.
Michigan, but even my own district and my own local community. So um, I just started talking online and talking about things that were important to me, like politics, like the
Hmm.
genocide, like
Hmm.
everything else. And I've just been talking nonstop ever since.
Hell yeah!
Not stopped.
We appreciate that, and um, you mentioned the genocide and now the genocide in Gaza and also the war in Iran, which sort of like came after that. It's been an insane couple of years that has been no doubt. So I can see people going either one or two ways on that, and I'm seeing more and more people going like uh, your way, the way of essentially becoming aware of these things. And I'm not sure if that was necessarily an inciting event for you,
Yeah.
but it's like one of those sorts of things where people can get get involved or and plug in. I guess three ways. The other is just like watch cable news all day and just like give yourself an ulcer. And the
Yeah.
third one is to just like well, I'm just gonna game and get away from this and just sort of like pretend this isn't happening, which I think is it's always been sort of like the majority opinion with American foreign policy and with war politics and stuff like that. But I think it's becoming less and less the case because of what is happening is becoming so undeniably like in your face that
Yeah.
it's a lot harder to just sort of like turn away.
Yeah. I mean, I was one of those people, right? I was one of those people that, I mean, like where
It's
I
too. I'm sorry. It's like too. Like it's like one of those like stare into the abyss and the abyss stares back kind of deals, right?
exactly, yeah. I mean, where I grew up, I've always kind of been in a like liberal bubble, and I mean the real world definition of the
Hmm.
word liberal, not the online definition, where I've always considered myself a Democrat, right?
Hmm.
And pro-choice, pro-LGBTQ, just the basics. I've always
Good
been that way.
stuff.
Yeah, good stuff. And I've always been pro-Palestine too, even before October 7th. I knew the history of what was going on there. I never thought it would get to a point where it's become such a mainstream topic. I never thought that it would blow up American politics the way it has.
Hmm.
Um, then October 7th happened, and that obviously changed everything.
Hmm. It
And
really did.
yeah, and I kind of realized that I'm not liberal. Like I didn't know there was anything more to the left than being liberal. I thought that was it. I'm like, oh, Democrat and Republican. Okay,
Hmm.
I'm a Democrat.
Well, it's
And
because that's so iced out of the sort of like mainstream
yeah,
vision of what American politics are. It's like this. It's just basically you have these insane people who want to attack, who want to just talk mad crap about Muslims and be racist as hell, and then be racist to immigrants, and that's one lane of politics. And then the other side is just like, we don't need to be that racist. We need to be maybe like slightly less racist about it. And
yeah,
that's like the rails of what is acceptable in American discourse,
yeah.
you know?
And it's always been like, and ever since Trump, ever since 2016, it's always been, oh, well, I'm not him, so I'm
Yeah.
better. I'm better, vote for me. And so I always did vote for the Democrat in
Vote blue no
20,
matter who.
vote blue no matter who. I've always done that too. And in 2016, I voted for Bernie in the general just because, I mean, when you say free healthcare, that kind of just,
Hmm.
uh, yeah, I'm on board.
And Bernie won Michigan in 2016
Bernie
as
won
well
Michigan.
in the
Yep, he
primary.
did.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I ended up voting for Hillary, and then 2020 voted for Bernie again, and then Biden, and then Kamala. So I've always been like this voter, but it didn't happen until 2024 where I was like,
Hmm.
I don't really like this that much anymore.
Hmm.
Like, and I don't know if it was just myself becoming more aware.
Hmm.
But I didn't really like it anymore because one, Biden was old. I mean, what he did at the end of his term, obviously he was deeply unpopular.
Hmm.
But beyond that, it's like I don't want someone who's older than my grandfather running for president. Like
Hmm.
that just made me sad
Hmm.
for him, for myself, for the state of the country. And so when Kamala came on, I was like, this is gonna be great. Like
Hmm.
we're gonna have such fresh
Oh,
young eyes on this. And
you fell out the coconut
I
tree.
fell out the coconut tree. The coconut hit me right on the head. I was honestly hopeful.
Hmm.
Um,
For the first
and I
time in
don't
a long time, no
for the
doubt.
first time in a long time. And I mean, like I know Obama made people feel hope, but it wasn't. I'm just gonna say I'm gonna reveal how young I am, but I couldn't vote for Obama.
Hmm.
And like the first time I could vote was in the 2016 presidential election.
Hmm.
And so I was like, oh, great. I kind of fell into identity politics a little bit where I'm like, oh, she's half Indian. She's Indian like me. She's a woman like me. This is going to be great. And it was just a massive disappointment.
Which, by the way, that does matter to
No,
like
it,
to a
it, it
certain
does
representational
matter.
extent, but like it also is used, and this is me, a white guy talking, so whatever. But like so often that kind of like representational politics is put in place of actual policies, and that's
Yes,
unacceptable. Or
exactly.
even worse, it's actually used as a way to get through bad anti-working class policies or even policies that work against those identities that these people come from. It's
Yeah.
disgusting. It's perverse.
Yeah. Like she identifies as a black woman, but she was not doing anything to help the black community. So it's like, how can you identify this way and then go work against that community? It doesn't.
Hmm.
You're
Were you
not playing into identity politics at all.
were you aware back in 2020 when she ran for president the first time? She got absolutely creamed, by the way. Kamala
Yeah.
Harris did.
Yeah.
But she had this policy of like forgiving student loans for only for small business owners from a certain socioeconomic background in certain communities. Like it was one of these things that was like so focus grouped from so many different like consulting firms that it appealed to like one in 10 million people or
Yeah.
something like that.
Like, and that's what. Oh,
Which is like distilled liberalism. That's like the most distilled liberalism that you could possibly have in
and
American politics.
I don't understand. I I just don't. When people, I know, like when you're online, you kind of think that these conversations are happening everywhere, but they're only happening online. But when people are
Hmm.
like, "Oh, well, she had such a great platform. She had such a great I'm like, what were the policies? What are you talking about?
Hmm.
What she came out at the DNC just we're gonna have the strongest army
Hmm.
in the world. Iran's our greatest adversary. Like, are those not things that Trump is
Hmm.
literally doing right now?
Hmm.
I'm sorry. I mean, do
Hmm.
I think she would have been better in certain senses, in certain aspects?
Absolutely.
Of course. And that's why I voted for her. I'm a harm reduction voter. And I always say I'm a harm reduction voter, but I don't want to have to be a harm reduction voter.
Yeah.
I don't want my vote to just be against Trump. I don't want it to just be against right wing fascism. I want it to be for something. I want something to actually come out of my vote.
Hmm.
And I don't
You
think
believe a better world is possible.
I
Wow,
believe a better
imagine
world
that.
is possible. Yeah, I don't want it to always be like in defense of something else. I want it to
Hmm.
be like to actually help people. And
Hmm.
I that's such a crazy concept for some people to grasp. And so I voted for her out of, again, pure harm reduction.
Hmm.
And I was not surprised when she lost, but I was disappointed, obviously, because of the result the president that we have now,
Hmm.
but also just disappointed in the fact that no one listened, no one
Hmm.
heard. And so I just started going online. I'm like, what do other people think is the reason she lost? Like,
Hmm.
because in Michigan, in the community that I was in, I mean, I'm like 25 minutes from Dearborn, the Dearborn vote that people like to point at
Hmm.
for why she lost Michigan. But
Which is
I,
insane, which is ridiculous. But
which
like
is
you, it's
insanely
insane
racist.
it's insanely racist. It's also like, I don't know, man. Maybe people have family from Gaza, or they know people from Gaza, or whatever, and like they just draw a red line where they say they can't support this candidate who will not back down from this genocide. And
Mhm.
like Donald Trump at least said the sweet words of like, I'm a peaceful devil. It was obviously
Oh,
BS,
peace
but
ticket. Yeah.
yeah, but like if somebody's not necessarily plugged into this, they don't know all this background, and they see somebody essentially just saying the right thing on this thing. I mean, maybe they're foolish to believe it, maybe not, but like, you know what? Like, they're at least making a decision based on the information that's being given to them, and the information
Yeah.
that the Democrats are giving you is, we're just going to continue what we've been doing for the past year and a half at the time, which was just allowing Israel to just bomb schools, neighborhoods, camps that build up after those bombings happen, and everything. Just
Yeah.
kill as many Palestinians as they want.
And it's not even like those people may not have voted at all. You know,
Yes.
maybe they didn't vote for Trump, but maybe they didn't vote at all.
Hmm.
And that's in the end, that's a vote lost for Kamala. So
Yeah.
in the bubble that I was in the bubble that I am still in,
Hmm.
it's very, just like I said at the beginning, where it's very liberal. Like, just vote blue no matter who. We're Democrats. And so I had to kind of push myself out of that a little bit because people around me, like my friends and stuff, were pro-Palestine, but like that was really it. And so I had to see what other people were talking about outside of where I was living, and it was all the same. It was exactly what I had thought, and I didn't feel like as crazy. I'm like, okay, this is not a crazy thing, right? And at
Hmm.
that point, I didn't know the depths of which, like, how far deep Israel's claws were in American politics.
Oh, it's so deep. It's
I
like
had
roots that go to the,
no
yeah.
idea. It blew my mind when I learned how entrenched they are in American
Hmm.
politics. It's truly terrifying.
They're allowed.
Yeah,
They get states to essentially like basically say you will not participate in BDS if you're a public employee. It's crazy.
yeah,
That would never stand on like First Amendment grounds and things
no,
like that. But the thing is that nobody challenges it. You know.
no. And people were getting fired from their jobs for speaking out against Palestine. People were. I mean, it was everywhere. I mean, Malat Kiros,
Hmm.
she was fired for speaking out against the genocide.
Hmm.
And it's just, and you saw that everywhere for
Hmm.
everyday people. Like, why is me speaking out against what's happening over there affecting my livelihood here in this American
Yep.
corporation? So it just, it opened my eyes. And so yeah, when she lost Michigan, she lost overall, but she lost Michigan, I wasn't surprised. I mean, we have the
Hmm.
sixth largest Muslim population in the country.
Hmm.
What do you expect? Even if people don't have family and friends in Palestine, they share the fact that they're Muslim. They share the fact that they're brown people
Hmm.
from that area. Um, and that's important. And so when you're completely pushing that to the side, you're telling those people, we don't really care about you.
Hmm.
So just vote for me anyway.
Hmm.
No. And it's gotten to a point where people have forgotten that politicians are public servants. They
Hmm.
call themselves public servants. It's your job to earn our vote. You are not owed our vote. Earn it.
Hmm.
And she didn't do that.
Yeah.
So after that, I just started watching political content creators on the internet and on YouTube. Really, I was like all over YouTube, and I was just watching, and then I wasn't really involved until later in the year when I heard about
Hmm.
Abdul El-Sayed, and it just excited me. It excited me that someone like that was actually had a chance, even though he did run before, and then he ran for Senate now, and it inspired me to kind of get more involved.
Great. Well, we'll talk about that really quick. Station ID. You're listening to WHIV LP New Orleans 102.3. This is Good Morning Comrade. Abdul El-Sayed just won the primary for Senate in the state of Michigan. We're here talking with Palki about it. Palki is a Michigander who was actually involved in the campaign in various ways, and we're going to talk about that now. But when we do that, though, I want to start. Let's just talk a little bit about Abdul himself. So he's a public health official. He was in charge of Wayne County's public health, and he ran for governor in 2018. How plugged in were you to any of that? And maybe you can like color in some of the lines for that if you can.
Honestly, I'm ashamed to admit this, but I was not involved.
Do not be ashamed.
I was your typical liberal back then. I was like, yeah, Gretchen Whitmer,
Slay Queen, girl
I'm with
boss.
her. Yeah, exactly. I was like, I'm with her. Gretchen Whitmer's the coolest.
I will
And
say,
back then she was.
by the way, and I will say this: I do have to give Gretchen Whitmer credit and I always do this, even though I have a lot of like bad feelings towards her about like the data centers and things that are happening in your state. But she is somebody who like historically was able to roll back right to work. So she has the right to work is an extremely bad policy for union workers, which essentially means that like when you are benefiting from a union contract, you can actually like opt out of being a member, but still get those benefits of the contract. So you're essentially not paying dues to a union. And so you're riding for free. You're essentially freeloading. And in the state of Michigan, it was right to work for some time, and now it isn't because and it was because of the legislature and Gretchen Whitmer. So like credit where it's due, but also like go on about the data centers and all the other stuff.
Yeah, no, I mean in 2018, I was like, yeah, Gretchen Whitmer is so cool. She has done a lot of good. Her actions of late do not erase what she's done in the past. She's, like you said, the right to work. She has stuck up for women's rights constantly. Her actions around COVID and when they tried to kidnap her and all that. I mean,
that was so crazy.
That was insane, and I feel like we glazed over that really quickly. I mean, there was so much going on at the time, so I kind of understand, but that was
kidnap plot on the governor.
Insane time in the state. It didn't feel like a real story. And so she has done a lot of good, but then recently, with ICE, with the data centers, with her comments when the synagogue attack happened earlier this year, it just kind of, I knew she was never a leftist or a socialist. I just thought she was your typical Elizabeth Warren type progressive. Not even Elizabeth Warren, maybe even more centrist than her.
Pete Buttigieg.
Yeah, Pete Buttigieg in the sense, but in 2018 it worked. Like that kind of politics worked for people, and I was all about it. So honestly, I didn't vote for Abdul El-Sayed. I wasn't even paying attention in the primary.
Also, he was a nobody at the time.
He was a nobody.
I don't mean to be disrespectful or anything like that.
No.
But like as far as having like a statewide or broad political profile, like the Department of Public Health official from Wayne County, that's a very important position. But you're not in the news every day.
Yeah. No, he wasn't in the news every day. He really didn't have the name recognition that you needed to run against someone like Gretchen Whitmer, and
who is like royalty, by the way.
Who is royalty? Yeah, I mean, she's people have known her for decades and decades, and so to run against that it's not going to be easy. But in this election, I look back at what he was like in 2018, and the way they used that in the Senate election and the primary was just, I mean, I couldn't believe it. He disagreed with Michelle Obama on some of her actions because he's a public health official.
Yeah.
He's a doctor.
I'm sorry. I thought you meant sexist. I thought you meant he was a
Oh, we'll
sexist.
get there. He's a PhD in public health. He's a doctor. He's a
A
Rhodes
literal Rhodes
Scholar.
scholar, exactly.
He is the top of the line when you can come. Like his
He has
opinion
no.
on
He
this
ha,
matters.
he has a PhD in sexism. I'm sorry.
Yeah, and it just so he disagreed with her. It was an opinion piece,
Right.
and he disagreed with her, but he wasn't disrespectful.
Right. Of course.
And the way they said that he's a sexist against women, he disagreed with Michelle Obama. He called Gretchen Whitmer a corporate sellout, which she is. She is a corporate sellout. He said the same thing about Haley Stevens because she ran a campaign in which she sold her soul to corporations. And so none of this stuff was rooted in reality, but the ads were everywhere. Like every single time. I don't even have cable, but when I would watch like something on streaming and there would be an advertisement, it would be Abdul El-Sayed. Like it's just like a scary voice, a scary man. Like this man married his college sweetheart. He has 2 daughters. He is not, no one has ever accused him of anything ever. He doesn't have a single blemish in his record. And you're going to try to convince me that he's a sexist man that hates all women and like it's an insane take, but it's all you have when you can't say this is a Muslim man that wants you to have free healthcare.
Right.
How dare he? So this is what they reach for.
Yeah, the bulk of the entire message of Abdul El-Sayed's campaign could be boiled down to 3 lines: money in your pocket, money out of politics, and Medicare for all. He's got people. So it reminds me a little bit of the Mamdani campaign, where he would say like fast and free buses, freeze the rent, and there was another one, I can't remember what it was, but you get my point. Like he's almost got his audience, and I'm a school teacher, so like a former school teacher, and like this is one of the things you would do with your students is that you would just like get them to, you would start something off and get them to repeat it so that they sort of understood that they knew what was going on there.
Yeah,
that is very good pedagogy, essentially how he's doing with a mass crowd.
Yeah, I mean, I know people like it works, and during the primary election, I was phone banking, I was door knocking, I was out there, I was talking to my own family members and people in my life, and they were all like, yeah, well, Haley Stevens has been around, she's been around. I'm like, yeah, she's our congresswoman in this district. She hasn't had a town hall. She's held 3 town halls in her entire time as our congresswoman.
And how long is that? How long is that? Like
she was elected in she ran her campaign in 2017, so she was elected in 2018.
So that's
in like 8 years.
8 years, 3. So that's like,
I mean, in between there was COVID, so I get that, but like 2019, 2021, 2023.
I'm sorry, you could do town halls on Zoom.
Thank you. Like she was a ghost. She gets elected and then she just disappears. And so I just asked the question, like, okay, well, what do you think has improved in our district since she's been elected? What has she done? What has the speech she's put out there, like, what have you heard from her where you're like, I like her, I'm going to vote for her? And
she's growing on me.
Yeah, she's growing. She really sticks it to him, the Michigan way, and no one could tell me.
I got to ask you. So Haley Stevens, when she was running especially, it seems like there was a very, and I'm not a Michigander. I've been around Michigan a little bit in the past several months, but she spoke in a certain kind of accent that I have never heard in my entire life. Is that a real accent? What's going on here?
Okay. I have never heard that accent in my entire life. He grew up born and raised in Rochester Hills, same as Abdul El-Sayed, born in Rochester Hills.
How come Abdul doesn't have that accent?
Abdul doesn't have that accent. I am 15 minutes from there, and I have never heard anyone with that accent in my life. I have never heard her parents speak. I don't know if it's like she learned from
family,
who she was around. I don't know, but it sounds like, and people like to say, oh, it's a Youper accent. It's not a Youper accent.
And she's not a Youper.
She's not a Youper, and she wasn't even born and raised there. So I don't, She didn't even visit there during the campaign. So what do you mean? It's a Yooper accent. It's like a hybrid Chicago, Minnesota, Canadian accent. Like,
It's almost like a version of like the transatlantic accent. You remember from like the old
yes,
movies,
yes,
but like
yeah.
like they would just like talk in that sort of like not quite British, not quite American, like hybrid accent.
That
But it was
always
just like a Midwestern version of that.
yeah, like in the black and white movies, like you
Yeah.
think they're like
Cary
British.
Grant talked like that,
Yes,
like
yeah,
Katharine Hepburn and stuff like that.
yeah, yeah. It's insane. I saw a lot of posts like, oh, it sounds like an accent from mid Michigan,
Yeah.
like near the Flint area. That's not true either. My husband is from that area. I've spent a lot
Michael
of
Moore
time
would
there.
talk like that, right?
Yeah. I spent a lot of time there around his family, around his friends. I have never heard that accent in my life. So I don't know where that came from. But I also found out like there was a few like Reddit posts, and this is Reddit, so take it with a grain of salt. But a lot of people were saying, I went to high school with her and she didn't sound like this back then.
I believe
And
it.
if you look at the older videos, she had like a small thing with her voice going on, but it was not this exaggerated.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if she just like, I don't think she's purposely putting on a show, because that would be really hard to do at some
To
point.
keep it
You
up,
crack. Yeah. So I think she's just like, she's convinced herself this is her voice and she just talks like this now. Like it's a real Marge Simpson vibes, and
yeah.
I do not understand where it came from.
Leave Marge out of this.
Yeah.
She's innocent.
I would get so many messages like, "Oh, Palki, you sound like this. I know you do in real life," and like on Twitter and stuff. I'm like, no,
Oh
guys,
my
I
God.
really don't. I promise you, I
They're
do
cooking
not.
you.
They're cooking me. Oh my God! But yeah, no, that was a crazy part of the campaign. I never thought that would be such a large part of the discourse, but
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh no, but when you make fun of her, you're actually making fun of Michigan. She was so like I will say this. Like you're familiar with the term lol cow, right? Like
Yeah.
it's and that's basically, so for people who are listening, that's a very online term for like trying to essentially take someone who is kind of cringe and like emphasizing like how cringe they actually are. In Haley Stevens' case, you kind of didn't have to do that because like she was just like so naturally cringe that it's just like just play the video and it's
Yeah.
weird.
Yeah, I was really surprised at how chronically, you say like chronically online word. I was surprised at how chronically online her campaign was.
Oh yeah. Oh,
I
centrists are
didn't
so online. Like Neera Tanden is a psycho posting on Twitter 24/7,
Neera
4 in the
Tanden
morning.
Neera Tanden didn't get to had to withdraw her nomination for the OMB because of her tweets. Because Democrats and Republicans both said they have a problem with her past tweets.
Yeah.
And she hasn't learned a single thing from that. And now she's just continuing to post the most heinous things online. But Haley Stevens really leaned into that. She would go into rallies with her base, which is 65 plus, and talk about, oh, those kids online are making fun of me. Those people don't know what you're talking about.
The
Those
cool kid
people,
podcaster, coastal elites.
the
Like talking like
coastal,
Fox News, you know?
Fox News. First of all, you lived in Chicago and DC and everywhere else. You moved back 2 months before you ran your first campaign. You are a coastal elite. And second of all, these 65-year-old people don't know who's making fun of you online and for what. They barely know how to use the internet. What are you talking about? Like, this is not something that's going to connect you with your voters,
Yeah.
with your constituents. It's like, if you want to reach past the 65-year-olds, you're not looking great to the younger crowd that's actually online.
Mm-hmm.
And so for her to lean into that was really, really confusing. I don't know where she got that advice from. And then for Abdul to come out and give a statement, like, he kind of leaned into the Bernie message and, don't make fun of her, which I mean, people were like, you don't need to do this. That you're going to shoot yourself in the foot for this. I didn't really think it was the end of the world. I just thought it wasn't needed.
Yeah.
But if he did it doesn't look bad. It makes him, seem like a like a good
Keep him, yeah,
person.
like he's trying to keep him clean. Like let's keep
Yeah,
this about policy.
yeah, and at
When
least if other people are doing it, he's not owning it. You
and
know?
and, and also like doing that, I think when people were critical of him, and this was also a very online phenomenon that was people were critical of him, but
Yeah,
so the centrist people, the people that are just sort of like this blob of folks that are just like Abdul is a sexist monster, just basically took it as an admission that he was basically participating in these kinds of things. That doesn't really matter because they were going to slime him anyway, no matter
yeah,
what. So like,
exactly.
it doesn't really matter. But to somebody who's not online, to somebody who's not insane, like when you talk about this kind of stuff, like keep them clean, all this other stuff, it makes you actually look classy, especially when these people
Exactly.
are just like burning everything down and talk about how you're a racist, you're a sexist, you're a terrorist and a
Yeah.
dangerous radical and all this other stuff. So I didn't have a really big problem with it.
No.
I think it was like whatever, like campaigns do this and it annoys like supporters, but like people, and I don't think anybody who saw that kind of a comment is just like, well, I guess I can't support Abdul El-Sayed now because he said
Yeah.
that. You know what I
No,
mean?
because like voters are getting this statement in their email,
Hmm.
and they're probably reading that like, oh, that's so cool of him. Like he's
Yeah.
such a good person. He took the
Hmm.
high road. And I think that's where it's important to kind of break out of your
Hmm.
uh echo
Online
chamber
bubble. Yeah.
online a little bit. Like you got to go talk to the real world, go touch some grass, and you'll see like this doesn't affect people in the way that you think it does.
Yeah.
Um, especially in Michigan, where like where he was trying to appeal to like the suburban mom, like the wine moms, like they love that stuff.
The Jennifer Welches of the
Yeah,
world.
exactly. The Jennifer Welch is like queen, first of all, but yeah, they love that stuff. They eat it up, and so for her to lean into that was really odd. But I mean, it it ended up not working. I mean, that with the Islamophobia, the vile Islamophobia. I mean, the beginning of this, that's kind of what started all of it. The
Mhm.
Islamophobic attacks against Abdul El-Sayed earlier part of this year. That's what started all of it. And it kind of put a bad taste in my mouth for the centrist candidate, Mallory McMorrow. It put a bad taste in
Mhm.
my mouth for Haley Stevens, which at the time she wasn't really campaigning. If I'm going to be completely honest, she
She got
started,
booed. She got booed at the convention, at the
yeah,
Democrat convention.
and then she went quiet for a long time. And it put a bad taste in my mouth for Gretchen Whitmer and everyone else that was involved. But it he has had to overcome a lot of adversity in this
Hmm.
campaign, and the fact that he was able to, even with $60 million staring at him in the face for super PAC money and APAC money, and he was able to beat that is a big achievement because the Islamophobia, the sexism attacks,
Yeah.
it was a lot.
Yeah. This is WHIV-LP New Orleans 102.3. This is Good Morning Comrade. We are talking with Palki, who is a local Michigander. She was a volunteer on the Abdul El-Sayed campaign. We'll be talking about her volunteering and getting involved in just a moment. But first, we're talking about the attacks against Abdul El-Sayed. And one of the most interesting lines of attack that was around this sort of dangerous radical business is they were talking about some Twitch streamer. I don't know what's his name, Hank Pecker or
Hank
something.
Pecker, I think.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but basically there was just this national discourse, and it really, this is where it started. So we're talking about Hasan Piker. Hasan Piker is a Twitch streamer who is like the number one Twitch streamer on Twitch. Twitch is a streaming, just basically a online streaming platform for the radio listeners who might not know. And he essentially had some comments from like 7 years ago, like that were like basically talking about like the concept of blowback. And if you watch cable news, be it CNN, be it MS Now, be it Fox News, be it the New York Times, be it like any kinds of like mainstream publications, you'll just see nonstop this guy on television just sounding like the most dangerous radical on earth. So, Palki, let me ask you, who is Hasan Piker, and why do we need to condemn him? Like, why do we need to make sure that he is no part of our political discourse because he's such a dangerous radical?
Yeah. Yeah, so Hasan Piker is a Twitch.
Do you condemn Hassan
I
Piker?
condemn Hasan Piker. I disavow Hasan Piker. No, no, no.
I'm gonna clip
I
that, by the way.
oh God. I he's a Twitch streamer, like you said. He's a political Twitch streamer. Talks about American politics, talks about foreign politics, and our place in the world. And this whole Hasan Piker, will you disavow Hasan Piker discourse started when he was going to stump with Abdul El-Sayed in Michigan at University of Michigan, at Michigan State University. It just started a firestorm in mainstream media, all because, and like I said earlier, because they can't attack Abdul El-Sayed on his policies. Mm-hmm. You can't say, oh, look, there's a Muslim man that wants you to have free healthcare and wants us to spend our money here and fix these god-awful Michigan roads instead of spending it elsewhere.
They're bad.
Yeah, like, oh, how scary. They can't say that. So what do instead is they go after his association with Hasan Piker. And yes, Hasan Piker has made some comments in the past that they were distasteful how he said it, for sure.
He's apologized for it, by the way.
He's apologized for it multiple times. It was 7 years ago. And there have been more context clips giving the full story of what was trying to be said in that time frame. And do I agree with everything he has said? No. Do I agree with everything how he says it? No. But in the end, it doesn't matter, because people in the real world don't know who Hasan Piker is.
Right.
People who are watching CNN with Jake Tapper or Fox News with Sean Hannity, they don't know who Hasan Piker is. They don't even know what Twitch is. They just see this guy who's looking at a computer screaming. They don't know that wearing a suit. Yeah, now he's wearing a suit. So, but they just think he's screaming at a computer, meaning he's screaming at anyone who's watching. When that's not the case, he's talking to 30,000 people, and he's having conversations. So, but people don't realize that. So when these mainstream media people take these clips and put them out of context, mm-hmm. they think it's going to do a lot of damage. And honestly, what I've seen, and what he's claimed to have seen is the exact opposite effect. Mm-hmm. When he came to University of Michigan, it was a few weeks after the synagogue attack in Michigan, if you recall, and people tried to make it seem like, oh, Hasan Piker is a Muslim man and Abdul El-Sayed is a Muslim man. If they came over, like, oh, it's dangerous for them to be in Michigan right now, so close to the synagogue attack.
It's so racist. It's so racist.
I saw so many tweets saying, oh, he should reconsider coming to Michigan. Why? He has nothing to do with the attack in synagogue. Neither does Abdul El-Sayed, because they're both Muslim. They need to stay far away. That is
so racist. It's just racist.
That's where Islamophobia. Yeah. There's no other way to put it. And so
I'm not like somebody that's like quick to call something like, oh, that's right. No. There's a long again, white guy talking, but like I understand that like immediately jumping to that's racist conclusion for a lot of things is something that a lot of liberals do, mm-hmm. but like that, I mean, come on, bro. Like you just look at it, boom, it's so easy, you know.
They're completely unrelated to the attack. So the only connection you have is that they're a Muslim person, and the guy who committed the act was a Muslim person. So like, mm-hmm. come on. And so it just started this firestorm. I went to the University of Michigan stumping event, saw these people speak. It was incredible. Summer Lee, Rashida Tlaib, all these people were there. And I come home, and the next day my mom's like, how was that event at University of Michigan? And I told her, and she's like, I saw that guy on CNN. And I'm like, Abdul El-Sayed? And she's like, no, well, I saw him, but I saw that Hasan Piker guy on CNN. And I'm like, oh, God.
Can't be good.
My mom thinks I'm following some like radical streamer who's like propagandizing us all. Like, oh my God. So I had to go. So I went, next time I saw her, I kind of explained to her who Hasan Piker is and what was going on. And now she watches his stuff. And she calls herself a socialist.
Mom W.
Yeah. No, my mom's awesome. And then when he started wearing the suit, it just like, my dad is very like education focused. Like education means everything to him. And if he sees someone like speak vulgarly, he's like, I don't like he swears too much. He's very traditional in that sense.
Mm-hmm.
And so he's like, I can't watch that guy. He swears way too much. I'm like,
That's fine.
That's fair. But then my mom would watch this stuff. She watches it on her laptop in bed before going to sleep. And my dad
That's
would
so
over.
cute. That is so cute.
And when he started wearing the suits, she's like, I love the suits. I'm like, do you expect me to tell him this? Like, what do you expect here? And so my dad would overhear, and he's like, okay, no, like, he's making a lot of sense. I'm like, you focus on the education part of things. Mm-hmm. He's very educated in this sense. Like, he spent his whole life doing it. And so he watches it. My grandma, who doesn't, I don't think she fully understands, but she likes watching him speak. She likes watching a guy in a suit.
He's so handsome.
She thinks he's very handsome. She's like, this guy is handsome. If I put on a YouTube video before he started wearing suits where he wasn't in a suit, she's like, can you skip this one? I'm like, sure.
All right.
I will put on a suit video for you.
Say it for the clips. Say that you're pro suit so that we could post this on Twitter and it'll go viral.
I'm pro suit.
Yes.
The Hasan Piker suit meta works. It works. I was anti-suit before. I'm like, this feels so formal. It feels like I'm watching CNN or something, but it works. I was wrong.
Yeah.
I was wrong.
All right. Well, let's get off Hasan because we can go down a real rabbit hole here. But let's just say that he's somebody who has been getting involved in more and more political campaigns. He has supported people like Daria-Lisa Villas-Chevalier and Claire Valdez in New York City, including the entire DSA slate out there. Malat Quiros, who won her primary in Denver. These are all Democratic Socialists of America candidates. He's supportive of Francesca Hong, who's running for governor in Wisconsin, right next door. He's also supportive of Oliver Larkin and in Florida, and Peggy Flanagan in Minnesota. So like he's definitely like putting his considerable weight to raise money and bring attention to these campaigns. Also, I know we just had Mike from PA on a couple of weeks ago, who has also been extremely supportive of all these folks, but especially Francesca Hong, to talk about this. Like there is sort of like a growing sort of, I guess, I hate to say it because like I hate the term influencer, but there are sort of like, but there is an emerging sort of like left influencer ecosystem that is developing like almost parallel to and sometimes interacting with organizations like Democratic Socialist America to essentially bolster a lot of these local, state, local, and hopefully eventual national candidates. Do you want to talk about that?
Yeah, I mean, and it's not even like they're doing it for us. Mm-hmm. The mainstream media, CNN, Fox News, they're doing it for us. The more they give these left influencers like Mike from PA, like
it blew my mind when I saw a sheik from actually both Megan and a sheik from basically the two DSA. Basically, the two DSA co-chairs both have been guests on this show in the past. I didn't mean to interrupt you, but like seeing them on Fox News.
Yeah, it's been insane. I feel like I don't know what it is, but I feel like the left or the mainstream media's obsessive need to focus on Hasan Piker and the DSA, it's helping us. Like they don't realize that constantly talking about this person, it's not. The people that are watching are not saying, oh, I got to stay away from this guy. What are they saying? I got to look into this. I should look into the DSA. I should look into Hasan Piker. I should look into what these people stand for. Oh, free healthcare? I should look into it. So they don't realize that they're helping us, and it sucks. And that's why I say, like, people who are more notable, like Mike. I mean, Mike was on a Fox News segment recently, and like Hasan Piker, which, you know, normally you see Hasan, but seeing Mike I was like, oh, wow, Mike's getting his flowers too.
Good job, Mike. Good job. You made it.
When they see these people, it's like they have to be, and I posted this recently, they have to be our sin eaters, right? Like they have to take the heat from mainstream media, from other politicians, whether it's centrists in the primaries or Republicans in the general. They have to eat it because no one can attack us on our policies because our policies are popular across the board. And so they have to come after, like we talked about, Islamophobia and these gross attacks because that's all they have. And so if that's going to help us boost us and get more left flank candidates out there, not even socialists. I mean, Abdul El-Sayed isn't a socialist, but just left flank candidates out there, I say we lean into it. I mean, I'm not the person that's having to take the heat, so it's very easy for me to say that, but it's helping. It's really really helping.
Yeah. So you listen to WHIVLP New Orleans 102.3. This is Good Morning Comrade. Abdul Sayed was recently victorious in his bid for the nomination for Senate for the Democratic side. He will now take on Mike Rogers in the general election that is on November 4th. Palki, I did want to talk to you about what it was like. So you said that this was the first time you had ever gotten involved yourself in a political campaign. Can you talk to me about how it was? We talked about this prior to the show, but it was a little bit nervous, doing this for the first time. Walk the audience through what it was like to get to the point where you would phone bank or canvass for a candidate for the first time and how that progression went. We have about 15 minutes left.
Yeah, no, so earlier this year I started getting involved I started understanding more about politics, and when I saw Abdul El-Sayed and understood his platform more and saw the solidarity in specifically before I was thinking of joining DSA, the Hasan Piker community, and seeing how everybody else was so behind this guy and his policies, it inspired me. I'm like, this is my home state. I need to get involved. All these people are supporting from other states. There's no reason I can't do it on the ground. And so I just started talking online, posting online, and then I'm like, there's more I can do here. I can phone bank, I can door knock. And I was nervous to phone bank at first just because I think it's just an anxiety thing where you're nervous to talk to random. You're cold calling essentially.
You've never
right?
done it before. You've never done it before, so it's a little bit intimidating.
Yeah.
And just so that you like my perspective on this, I find that it's a lot less intimidating when you're doing with people that you know.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. And when I had that little mini community of people that I know from his community, and I was like, yeah, we're gonna phone bank together. We're gonna do this. I'm going to talk to random people. And once I did it once, it was so easy to just keep going. At that point, it was just like, okay, they give you a script. You educate yourself on his policies. I already knew everything about it. And I just talked to people. You're just talking to people. You don't even have to follow the script, really. Because people are going to ask questions and you have the answers for them. And whether or not they commit to a vote, that's okay. At least you're educating others on what's going on. And then I went into door knocking, and that was a little more nerve-wracking because you're actually putting yourself out there. But it was exciting. I mean, again, like I said, after the first few times, you just get used to it. A lot of people aren't even home. They don't answer the door, or they don't have time. Yeah, they don't have time. They have to quickly leave. So it's a lot different than phone banking, because on a phone you can speak for a longer period of time. And then I just kept going, and the day of the day before the election, or the day of the election, I was greeting at the polls. I was in the morning. I was canvassing in the mid-afternoon, and I went to the victory party in the evening. So it was like a day full of Abdul El-Sayed activities, and it was awesome. And I was at the party that night, and I didn't know what was going to happen. Every time I saw the screen come up of his results or Donovan McKinney's results, I was so nervous because it was obviously getting tighter and tighter, but it felt awesome to be in a community where other people were doing the same thing. Other people believed in the same thing. And like I said in the beginning, where like I'm in my own little liberal bubble here, but there's people so close by that think the same way that I think, that feel the same way that I feel. I just had to look a little bit further out. And so it was really cool to find that. And I am glad we did everything we could to get Abdul El-Sayed over the initial finish line, and we're going to keep going for the general.
Yeah, and it seemed like the volunteer base, because Abdul El-Sayed, and I was on some of the phone calls that they would do, some of the Zoom calls or whatever, just sort of like, checking it out, seeing what's going on. And there were a lot of folks on those calls all the time. And also, like, there was estimates of something around like 80,000 volunteers for the campaign nationally, which, I mean, you got to think that's what made the campaign and what ended up making the difference in the election. So like one of the things that, and again, this was not a DSA endorsed candidate, but like when you have, I imagine there were DSA members that were a part of it, but
Yeah.
like, and imagine there were others that were a part of it as well. But there is essentially an organized activist base of people who are willing to not just vote for a candidate, but also to put themselves out there, like you did, to phone bank, to greet people at the polls, to go canvassing or whatever it is. And that is what can potentially make the difference. And you're not going to motivate people with to do things like that on stick it to them on like no policies
Or
at
the
all.
advertisements that
Yeah.
were thrown in our face. Like those advertisements, they cause voter fatigue. You
Hmm.
know, no one sees those, or the flyers you get in the mail where it's like attacking Abdul El-Sayed. No one sees that and thinks, "Oh, great, I'm gonna vote for this person that sent this to me."
Hmm.
That just is like people are sick and tired of seeing that. The amount of time that people would get those flyers and just tear them up and throw them away. Like no one's paying attention. No one's paying attention when you call him all these, nasty remarks. People, it sounds cheesy, and it sounds cheesy and like cliche, but a people powered campaign
Hmm.
really does make all the difference. He didn't have $60 million backing him, but
Hmm.
he had the will of the people. And yeah, he
Hmm.
wasn't DSA, but I couldn't tell you the amount of DSA people that I met here from other
Hmm.
states,
Hmm.
flying over here to
Oh
help
yeah.
him because they believe in his message, they believe in the cause, and they know how important Michigan is to the general, to the overall national on a national level. And it's not a purple state. People are saying, "Oh, well, it's a purple state." So no, I don't believe it's a purple state. It has
Yeah.
never. It was a purple state for 20 years before it went red. Michigan is part of the blue wall.
Hmm.
Michigan is one of the heartlands of Union. The UAW is
Yeah.
here. Like we are a blue state,
Hmm.
and it's just gotten to a point where voting blue didn't get us anything.
Hmm.
So people were desperate.
Well, no, 100%. The fact that Michigan, which again is the crucible of a lot of the labor movement, specifically in the auto industry, the fact that that was considered or is considered by mainstream press and by mainstream like consultants and Democratic politicians to be a swing state is an indictment of their own politics
Yep.
because what they didn't do, what they didn't or what they did do, I will say, is sell the working class up the river. That's what they did, and the working class is not stupid. The working class, like people love to talk about the voters, like all this other stuff. No, people can recognize when their interests are being met, not being met. They can recognize when there's nothing on the table, nothing on offer, and quite frankly, and I'm not defending this because I don't think this way, but like I can see how people can come to this conclusion. I probably said this enough times on the radio, but here we go again. If people have no ability to make their situation better, then they become either demotivated or motivated by hatred and spite. And that's
Yeah.
where a lot of this like right wing fascist Trump stuff comes from. Well, nothing's ever going to make things better for me, but you know what? We can really stick it to these immigrants who are taking our jobs, which isn't even true, but like that's just an easy narrative for people to fall into. And so
Yeah.
like we can bomb Palestinians or go to war with Iran or all this other BS. Like that's what's on offer because the better world that we believe is possible is not being not being pushed towards by the Democratic establishment. Sorry, I had a soapbox for a
No, no,
second,
you're
but
completely
like,
right because Michigan is a purple state because of the Democrats. It's
yes.
not, you left a lane open for the Republicans to swoop in and take advantage of these people who are struggling, who are vulnerable. You did this.
Hmm.
You made it possible for these people to hate immigrants and hate LGBTQ community and all these things. This is your doing. So if you're not going to change that moving forward and make Michigan blue again, which is it's up to you guys,
Hmm.
we're going to do it instead.
Hmm.
And that, I mean, it's a small step. Abdul El-Sayed is a small step in the state. We haven't had a Republican senator in 30 years,
Hmm.
and we're not going to start now. I mean, with a candidate like Abdul El-Sayed, when Mike Rogers lost in 2024 to Alyssa Slotkin, of all people, if he can lose to Alyssa Slotkin in a Trump year, he's gonna lose in the bluest wave we've ever seen against Abdul El-Sayed. And it's a small win. We have Jocelyn Benson, who is basically Whitmer 2.0 as our governor, most likely as our governor. But we'll get there. We can't win. We can't have all the elections happen at the same time. So I think it's a great step in making sure that Michigan goes blue again. Abdul El-Sayed is a great representative of everything that's beautiful about Michigan. He's born and raised here. He has a family of immigrants. He's worked hard to put himself where he is. He has a long history of helping the community wipe away medical debt and put glasses on children. He is a public servant through and through, and that's what we need more of in politics. So I'm proud of him. I'm proud of our state, and I hope we keep going.
So I think the big takeaway from this is that 80,000 volunteers or something like that defeated $60 million from a lot of these special interests and lobbying groups. But anyway, we do need to sort of end it here. But Palki, where can people find you, and what would you like to say on the way out?
Yeah, I'm on Twitter at The Measured Take. I'm on Instagram and YouTube and Threads as Measured Take. I'm not an influencer by any means. I just like to talk. I like to talk about leftist politics, commentary. I've been focused on the Michigan election, but of course, as other elections are coming up, I try to be involved as much as I can remotely and be in the know of what's going on. So if you like to hear people yap about politics, about leftism, leftist politics and socialism, I'm your girl. Follow me. And this experience has been very inspiring, and I hope to keep it going for other candidates as well.
Palki, thank you so much for joining us on Good Morning Comrade. Really
thank you for having
talking
me.
with you. You can listen to Good Morning Comrade every Monday at 11 a.m. in the New Orleans area Central Time. You can listen anywhere in the world on WHIVFM.org/listen. I'm sorry, 10 o'clock Central Time, 11 Eastern. You can listen anywhere in the world, also on our podcast version, anywhere you find podcasts, and also on our YouTube. Thank you so much, everybody, for listening. This is WHIV LP New Orleans. We love you. Bye-bye.